you have to put yourself out there. Don't overthink it. Don't think it's too corny. Just do it. That's the biggest thing. Just do it.
Welcome to another Real Estate First Friday. My name is Matthew Hodge, Executive Vice President here at LPT Realty, joined by Fermin, my co-EVP. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Good morning. A week away from FallCon.
I know it, man. Not even. Like we're days away. It starts on Wednesday, so
that's true. It's right around the corner.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like literally 10 minutes ago, you forgot it was next week.
I did
for a split second. We've been talking about it literally every hour of every day for the last how long, and for like the last that little 10-minute window, you forgot that it was next week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Well, I know that it's next week, and we are excited for that. Now I know, and it's going to be great, man. We're so excited to see people in person. Of course, we do our best to connect over virtual, over screens, but nothing is like getting into the same room, having those organic conversations. And so we're so excited for FallCon next week. So if you are coming, look forward to meeting you or seeing you again, and we're gonna have a great time. But real quick, we're gonna jump into today's topic, which is basically building your presence through social media or your sphere, and how to turn that into additional opportunities. And so we're gonna bring on Sharelle Rosado, who is an LPT agent. I'll let her kind of tell her story, but started a career inside of real estate, used specific things to kind of continue to grow her spotlight, ended up ultimately landing in a Netflix show, and continued to grow from there. She was named one of the most influential real estate agents last year by Inman, and so people are curious, how do you do that? How do you grow from just getting into the business to at some point being recognized by the industry as one of the most influential people? How do you turn it into a Netflix special? All these things. So let's go ahead and bring Sharelle on.
Right.
Hey, Sharelle. Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. I love the setting. The background is amazing over there.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Where are you at? Last time I spoke with you, you were in Dubai. Right before that, you were in Africa. Where are you at these days?
I'm in Tampa. I actually have a flight to go to Dallas. I have a team, my Allure team in Dallas. So we have an event recruiting event going on this weekend. So I'll be there.
Awesome. You are always on the move. And I know that you will be at FallCon for 1 or 2 days next week. So we're super excited to see you. And if you're on the call, please go meet her in person. She's truthfully an amazing person.
And it's my birthday. I'm gonna have cupcakes at our booth.
Are you? Okay, awesome. Yeah, a week before yours. Okay, so we got Davy's birthday the following week, your birthday next week. We'll make sure we come give you a big birthday hug, and maybe we'll have a beverage or two to celebrate. But okay, cool.
And a cupcake,
apparently. Yeah. Well, cool. All right. So we want to kind of start off with, how did you get started? So obviously you had your own brokerage, Allure Realty. You rolled that into LPT, but even before that, you already had, hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. You had already parlayed that into like a television show. Where do you start? Like, was that your vision? Was it like you just had an opportunity and then that you kept walking through those doors? Like, how do we get started there?
It's crazy because everyone knows I was active duty military. And I was coming close to a point where, I was hurt, I was injured, I was airborne jumping out of airplanes. So I had a lot of knee pain, back pain. And I was like, this is not for me anymore. Also suffering with PTSD. I was offered the opportunity to get med boarded. So I medically retired and I'm like, what should I do? So I got into real estate because I remember purchasing my first house at 22 years old in North Carolina. And I loved it, just going around looking at homes. And my broker at the time, he was like, the broker who I had as my agent was like, you would make a great real estate agent. So that stayed in the back of my head. I started doing real estate, was making more money within months than I made a year in the military. I was like, this is for me, because I was utilizing, I was admin. So I would get all the new soldiers that would come in. Hey, here's my business card. If you're looking, I would pass out my teammates business cards and we'll work it. So I was like, this is for me. So I did real estate for 2 years. After my 2-year mark, I transitioned out the military, but I opened up my brokerage transition. So I went straight into my own company, 2 years. Didn't know what the hell I'm sorry. Didn't know what the heck I was doing. Didn't know anything, nothing, you guys. So it was just all like, I'm just going to figure it out as I go.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, when you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to, work for you have to. You can't think hard on it. You just have to sometimes you just have to figure it out as you go, and don't be afraid to ask questions. So I looked at it, how can I stand out? I started recruiting, and my recruiting tactic was, I'll give you a deal if you come be a part of Allure. So I recruited 8 females, and it worked. So I was like, okay, I have beautiful women. They're go-getters. They know how to close deals. Let's do a photo shoot. My biggest thing was doing a photo shoot and marketing all over social media. That photo shoot went viral, and then I had producers reaching out to me. Of course, I'm a great salesperson, so only 2 producers reached out to me, but I wanted a specific producer, and I reached out to them. Not really reached out, but I started liking pictures and following.
Okay, so you had a strategic, hey, I'm going to start liking pictures. You're going to start seeing my name. I'm going to start messaging. Okay, so I believe the term is you slid into their DMs. Is that how you would phrase that?
But that's what you have to do sometimes. I mean, you have to set your eyes on what you want, and you can't be afraid of it. I think that's a lot of people's problem is they sit too long on what if it doesn't go right for me. And I never had that issue. My thing was, if it doesn't go right, I'm gonna try this route. I'm gonna have a plan of action, a different plan of action each time until it works. So that was my biggest thing. So marketing, getting ahead of the marketing game, utilizing what benefited me the most. And at that time, social media was, thriving. It was during COVID. So a lot of people wasn't really working. They was on their social media. So how can I create something beautiful where people just start looking at it? So definitely putting more money into your branding.
Okay. So when you said, okay, you figured it out, I have a more captive audience right now because, people are out of work. They're spending more time online. They're spending more time on their phones, scrolling. So you're saying, hey, I'm going to capitalize this captive audience. And so did you have a plan to say, hey, I'm going to show them, I don't know, houses? Like how did you then use that opportunity to turn it into more business? Like, was it specific type of content? Were you researching that? Were you showing houses? Were you relating with people? Like, what was the strategy there?
At that time, my niche was military. So I would focus mainly on military. Of course, my business wasn't luxury multi-million-dollar homes until after my Netflix show. And then once I received, Selling Tampa, that's when the big business started coming in. But I didn't focus. My main goal wasn't to try to just jump straight into luxury. It was continuing, what I do best. And that's working with military clients, relocating clients, and showing that I'm closing deals, being knowledgeable about the market. And once the show came out, I was ready to hit ground. Like, people started with bigger purchase budgets, they started reaching out, and I took that and ran with it.
Yeah. So we actually have a development in St. Martin together. So you brought that relationship to LPT. I know you're going to actually be in St. Martin next week, celebrating your birthday and checking on the project. So at what point, and just if you're unfamiliar with it, we have the exclusive rights to the LESAB deal in 12 listings in St. Martin. Average price point is $3.5 million, and there's 12 of those. And so that you and I worked together to close that deal. But how did you use social media? Because I remember they reached out and they were like, hey, we're seeing you online. We want to have your exposure. What was that transition? What was that conversation like to say, yes, I'm going to then allow you to use my influence or my social to promote this project? That was obviously very important to them. So what was that conversation like, and how was that like your ultimate goal, or was that just a byproduct of something else you were doing?
It wasn't my ultimate goal. I wanted to make sure it made sense. A lot of people, want to come and use the social media presence, but also a lot of people want to have their cake and eat it too, right? Mm. So I know if I have a presence, if you're coming to me for something, then I know it's something big, like I can take advantage of this. So That's why I reached out to you, Matt, to close the deal. I thought it was a great opportunity. It wasn't something that I was looking for, because this is my big first international deal. And, I'm truly grateful for it, but it was definitely nothing planned.
It just seems like you have these opportunities and then you figure out how to make the most of it. And I think that, there's a lot of power in that, because we all have somewhat of a plan. Like, hey, I want to go out there. I want to meet more people. I want to sell more houses. I want to increase my price point, whatever that is for you. And so we kind of like turn opportunities down that don't align with that. But really what I always thought was so interesting about you is that you didn't necessarily have like, hey, I'm looking to do a Netflix show. Hey, I'm looking to do XYZ. But as these things became available, you spotted it and then you walked through that door, and then it ended up opening other paths for you. And so I just thought that was super interesting, because again, it was just about being open to new opportunities that were available. And, that's something that we can all do. And so real quick, your Selling Tampa show, how did that impact your career? Were you getting more real estate deals from that? Was it something that was really worth it? Like how did that impact the real estate side of things?
It definitely took my real estate business to a whole nother level. Mind you, I wasn't even a year, not even 6 months into it when they reached out to me. So it was the best thing that could have came to me at that time. I started getting more clients. Of course, when you have good, there also is hate. But the good outweighed the bad. I started receiving more clients. I started, diving into the luxury real estate, selling multi-million-dollar deals. Endorsement deals started coming, and it just opened my platform to other, high producing real estate agents and other people reaching out to me at that time. Ron Serhunt wanted me to be on his real estate advisory board after the show came out. So it was just a lot of different opportunities for me to be able to network with high producing real estate agents. Now, Jason, the Oppenheim brothers, we're close. I can call for advice or whatever. So it was truly a blessing.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. So Sharelle, I mean, one of the things you've done so effectively is building your own personal brand. You've been able to really captivate an audience to set yourself apart relative to other individuals in the business as you are competing for that level of business. And as they say, right, with a personal brand, that's a way for you to distinguish yourself. Without a personal brand, you just blend in with the other agents. And we're very much advocates of how do you set yourself up when you go to different listing presentation, buyer auditions. That's a big reason why we're big proponents of like the Power Pack and showing up differently. And how do you show your audience that you are different than the other agents who are trying to win that business? But building a personal brand is also something that I understand that a lot of agents are fearful of. It's how do I even enter into that world? How do I go into a world where I can start controlling my own narrative and captivating my own audience? You've been able to do it so successfully. What advice would you give to an agent who's looking to transition into that space? I want to start building my own personal brand. I see the power in building a brand for myself. I just don't know where to start. Where would you recommend the starting place be, and maybe the next few steps as they start developing that plan for themselves?
I would say first, find out what you are good in within, social media. Social media is big. Everybody is on social media. So find out something that you are good in. Like I have one of my agents, I'll give an example. She is a pilot as well. So I told her she has access to small planes. I said, utilize that. Like you're a great pilot. Use your plane, fly in, have your customers meet you. Y'all go to a house. That right there is something different, and it's just gonna bring eyes because it's like, wow, she sell homes. I didn't know she was a pilot. Like find something that you're good at and then utilize it to bring in more eyes and then go from there. Don't be afraid to speak. Don't be afraid to go on social media. I have one of my agents in the Tampa office. She is the TikTok queen. So whenever TikTok, she is doing whatever it is, and it just brings laughter. And I just repost it. It's just, you have to put yourself out there. Don't overthink it. Don't think it's too corny. Just do it. That's the biggest thing. Just do it.
So it's like, I think a lot of people think about social media is that they have to fit whatever they think the cool thing is, instead of saying like, hey, go out there and do your thing, and it's going to attract the right people. You don't have to go mold to something else. You do it and you consistently do it, and the right people are going to find you. So my sister, oddly enough, like an example of that, not in the real estate world, but she's like really into water painting. And so she would like just put water painting on social media like all the time. She just kept doing it. And now her page, I think she has like I don't know, 10 or 11 reels that are like 4, 5, 6 million views. And it's just because people who are into painting find her and they follow her. And like, so she's monetizing that now. But again, she didn't try to be like something else. And I feel like I was even caught in that trap at some point. Like, hey, I have to go do whatever the cool thing is, instead of just being like, hey, I'm going to go present myself as me. And then whoever finds that to be cool, you kind of build your tribe after the fact. So I know that you mentioned that along with that amount of exposure comes with people who maybe say negative things about you, or you have to fight against that. What advice would you give for anyone maybe who's nervous about, someone speaking negatively about them or making them feel uncomfortable about the content they put out?
I think the biggest thing is you can't control what someone thinks or what they do. The moment that you start focusing on that, you lose focus of the bigger picture. Focus on you getting to that next level and just tune out the hate and, people trying to bring you down. Because it's going to happen. I mean, even to people who are not on a high platform, it's going to happen to you. Just tune it out and focus on the bigger picture.
Yeah, I love how you say that. I mean, for every one hater, you're going to have 10 followers, right? And you just can't be shy. I mean, I love how you gave that experience. Like, just do it. Just be yourself. Go out there and have the confidences to do it, because you will captivate somebody. Sometimes we spend so much time trying to figure out, how do we deliver a message perfectly? And all that's doing is stifling our ability to even do anything. Next thing you know, we look back and we haven't done nothing. Right. Like, nothing's been done because we're trying.
I wish I should have, could have, would have.
Yeah.
Correct. And then you fast forward later down and it's like, damn, I just wasted all this time because I was trying to get the messaging, the perception, the story, my branding perfectly. But sometimes what the audience wants to see are those levels of impurity. Just think about it from our position as the audience member. What captivates us when we're looking at somebody, it's not necessarily because they're perfect or they're doing what the cool people are doing. It's because they're resonating with me. So why is it psychologically, when we're trying to create that type of content, we try to make it perfect when that's not what interests me when I'm looking at the, at this type of content. So just have the confidences, be yourself. Don't be shy. Just go out there and do it. And again, for every one hater, you're going to have 10 followers behind that.
Yeah, really well said. Okay, so what's next for you? What are you working on now? What is the next thing for Sharelle?
Right now, I have some meetings because you told me who to talk to, but I'm trying to tap into another country. So I have some meetings with some LPT people to tap into another country. I have a lot of clientele over there. So just expanding, within LPT. I love it here. For the people listening, if you're not utilizing the resources that LPT offers, you are missing out on a lot of business, a lot of money. Switching over to merging with LPT was the best thing I could have ever done. I'm able to connect all over. I'm growing my team in different states. I just opened up in Atlanta. And Texas is growing, so we're tapping into another country.
So you started your operations in Tampa. What cities are you in as you stand today? What is your concentration in the U.S.?
So it's Tampa, Miami, Orlando, Dallas, Texas, Houston, Texas, Atlanta, Charlotte, South Carolina, and Kansas City.
Wow. All right.
Congratulations.
Awesome. Yeah, fantastic.
And aside of that, I started my development project. So I'm also tapping into the development world now. So y'all going to see some crazy content once I start building my first house.
Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Okay, so I guess we'll kind of wrap it up here. I want to ask some final questions. People want to know, what is it like to work with high-end clientele, athletes? Is there a different approach, to working with clients like that who obviously have a lot more expendable income and a lot more preference in what they're looking for, sometimes a little more eccentric? How do you work with those type of clients?
Nothing's different but the income. So you treat them just like you would treat, your regular day clients. I love working with them. They're very busy. So sometimes you may become their assistant, but at the end of the deal, it's worth it. I still to this day work with some of my athlete clients, just small little things they need done, but it's an amazing opportunity. A little bit more work, but you're dealing with the bigger commission. So it's the same. Just treat them the same.
So you're saying, hey, they have a busier schedule, and so you're like, sometimes you're kind of like their assistant. What does that mean?
So shooting out emails, reaching out to their HOA to get things done, reaching out to their agent, following up even more, just being on it even more because they do have a tight schedule, talking to their lawyers, just including more of their team in the process.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense.
But then at the root, they're still people. That's kind of what I heard. Like you still interact with them as people, no matter the price point.
And you have to have patience.
Yeah, and why is that? I mean, I feel like you have to have patience in real estate anyways. It's one of those things where, you're constantly absorbing either an issue or maybe someone's anxiety or we have to be a sponge in that sense. We actually had John on last week who specifically talked about that, and that being one of the key things for real estate. They're like, hey, if you're not great at absorbing these things, it's going to be difficult for you because a lot of the job is about solving those problems or dealing with an escalation or something in that manner. So in this world, you're dealing with attorneys, you're dealing with maybe contracts on sports teams, you're dealing with things that they don't necessarily want to deal with. And that's how you feel it's all really kind of different. Other than that, it's just dealing with people.
The same type of transaction, just a bigger budget.
Yep. Awesome. Cool. All right. Any final questions for you, Lewis?
Yeah, no. I mean, I think we're great. Thank you so much, Sharelle, for joining us here today and sharing your insight. And congratulations also with your successes. I know we first met, it was about 2 years ago. And to see where you've landed today, 2 years later, it's truly, truly amazing. So a lot of congratulations to that.
Yeah, definitely. And have fun in St. Martin. I guess I'll see you next week for your birthday briefly. And then St. Martin, I know you'll be there for the second half of that week. So we'll look for your content. I know you're going to cover the project. And I think the model home is going to be done in November or December. So definitely looking forward to seeing what that looks like. So congratulations on your success. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. And everybody who's going to be at the Fall Con, make sure you stop by our booth, Allure Table. We will have cupcakes for my birthday.
All right. I hope you have enough. You may need thousands of cupcakes at your booth.
So real quick recap. We will be doing Motivational Monday, obviously, at 11 a.m., just like normal. We will not have any additional classes next week because most of the coaches and teachers will be at FallCon. So LPT Tools Tuesdays and orientation, that will still be there. But Real Estate First Friday, we won't have next week either because we will be at the conference. So just to remind you, 2 different ways to enjoy the conference. On the 16th and the 17th, you can come to the free expo. So if you're local in Orlando, or if you're driving in, you can go to the expo. If you want to, again, go to the content where it's the 3 certifications, that does require the tickets. But we would recommend that you come regardless, even if it's not in your budget, not in your plan to go to the full conference. At least come for the expo, get to know some additional agents. I think there's like 70 plus vendors that are going to be there. We're going to have all the LPT booths set up so that you'll be able to interact with all the things that we offer, including the luxury collections, a power pack, the listing collection, all of those things you'll be able to see in person and speak to an expert on the best ways to use those things. So definitely going to be a lot of value regardless of whether you go to the certification part of it as well. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a blessed and prosperous weekend. We'll see you at 11 a.m. for Motivational Monday. Have a great weekend.